Hello. This is my reaction to BuzzFeed's 36 Questions Women Have for Men. I'd like to say that these are the reflections of just one male adult American, uh, and that we all are different. Thank you very much. Maybe the same way you feel about being the same gender as Sarah Palin, or Ann Coulter, or Michelle Malkin. See what I did there? Who have come to represent women in politics, except instead of, let's say, the woman here on my shirt. First off, a side question. Do you consider 1995's Forget Paris to be a rom com or a sports com? Now to my answer. I don't hate rom coms. I like When Harry Met Sally. I like Definitely Maybe. I like anything that is, um, funny and enjoyable to me. Um, how dare you say that all men don't like rom coms? I don't like The Notebook. Therefore, your argument is already false. And I don't really listen to Beyonce. So, once again, therefore, your answer is false. We don't. I personally don't talk about movies unless I've just seen said movie or I'm going into a discussion about certain movies of which the topic is those types of certain movies. I'd like to take this by showing you the symbol of the television show I uh, think is, if not the best, one of the top five shows on television. And here it is. Which I assure you has nothing but female leads. And actually, as a guy, I'm really upset with the female lead because for some reason she is going where we left off at the end of the mid-season of season 5 is going after her misogynist woman beating boyfriend, although I have a whole other things I could say on that. And if you're part of the Captain Swan fan club, you're not gonna like him. So maybe we should just move on from here. Otherwise, you can see me uh, for my other dislikes about it another time. Question: Was this question just reserved for millennials? Because I have to say, as a 38-year-old, um, I used to grow up watching on Fox the old reruns of I Love Lucy, and I laughed my head off, man. I can assure you, you are not funnier than me, and I can bring in members of both genders to prove it, who can back me up. Look at me in this hat. I'm already funnier than you. Then again, to truth be told, I haven't hooked up with a female in a while. So if you have any friends for me, please contact uh, me somehow. I'm not sure, but the closest thing I have to an answer is that it's all biologically based. See, men are genetically exposed to keep the species going. Um, this is the best answer I could come up with. I really do not have an answer to this question other than that. And that is just a hypothesis, really. See previous answer. We know that no means no. However, there is something known as sarcasm. It is when you say one thing but mean the other. Like if I were to say to someone, "My, you're awfully smart." It actually means I think they're quite dumb. Okay, I'd like to answer this in two parts. One, this is a picture of me with my mother from about 10 months ago. Um, I think she is more qualified to be president than any of the actual candidates running currently, including Hillary. Uh, Two, I've never been a big fan of catcalls. I don't know why other guys do it. Um, but you have to ask them personally. I don't, and I don't know any type of man who does. Is this just for the millennials in the room, or is it to all men? Because I wouldn't send one. I think that's actually kind of gross, but then again, I'm 38 and maybe I've matured past such things. However, I'm guessing it's the same reason why a woman might send a topless picture to get the person interested. I mean, this is just my first um, idea of why that might happen. But I don't know. Okay, are we just talking about sexualized comments, or are we talking about comments in general? Because that has a different approach to each. Like if it's just something in general, uh, it can be done for for either a guy's sibling, and the answer is yeah, I can beat up my brother, but don't you let a uh, but don't you put a finger on him. Or I can say stuff about either of my siblings, but don't you say anything about them. However, now as to a sexual comment, I've been asking something similar to that for years, or at least commenting on something similar to that for years. Well, actually, this was brought something like this was brought up with in a conversation with my psychologist, who is female, and her answer was that men and women's brains are radically different. So it could be that men already think you're done answering or asking the question, and didn't know that you were still going. because unlike women, men have something in between our legs that makes us separate them. And regarding the comment after, are your breasts actually connected to your hand or arm? No? So please don't use that analogy. It has to do with upper body strength. Men, for the most part, are traditionally stronger than women, especially in upper body strength. And now, as to the watermelon comment, wouldn't banana bread be a better analogy? Because I've seen watermelons, and I've seen human babies right after they were born. Uh, it's it's not a watermelon. It's not. We do it all the time. When I'm angry, I yell. When I think something's funny, I laugh. When I'm happy, I smile. What traditionally men don't do is cry in public, and that's really the question you want to be asking. We're not. Those men who do try to prove their masculinity are probably trying to prove it towards other men to prove that they're not a wimp. Oh, and the Alexander Hamilton pick, not psychologically put in there for any specific reason. I just thought it it always looks good, but so I use it whenever I feel like it, and right now it just came up in the order. This goes back to Victorian England. So the best way to answer this is you'll need some sort of a time machine. Um, I know that they've just started to talk about remaking the DeLorean, but I don't uh, think you should use that. Or what? I can't be funny here. I told you I was funnier than you. I don't, but I don't 100% believe her either. And to back up this statement, I'm going to give you a couple of names or words that I wish you to Google, and then you will understand. The first is Tawana Brawley. The second is Duke lacrosse and rape allegation. The third and final one is UVA rape hoax. Have you heard of the term PMS? Next! I don't know anyone who says that it's false advertising, but I can guess that it's because that what is it? Oh yeah, makeup makes you look more beautiful than you actually are. And what do you mean on that about that comment? I don't go around, and I don't know any man who goes around putting a sock inside his pants just to make a, a certain organ look bigger than it is. It doesn't really help the matter when you actually go to have sex and the woman then sees that there's a sock on top of that said organ. They're called elections. And since the 1920s, both genders can run and be chosen. You understand that these people are chosen by the community in which district or uh, state they live in or country. You understand that, right? That's why we got rid of England. And this time the picture was intentional. I'm not sure uh, to what you are actually referring to there, and I've never gotten the whole straight guys wanting to see two women make out and have sex uh, thing either. I fast forward it when I'm watching if I'm watching pornography and softcore pornography and that comes on, I um I fast forward. Probably worse than labor pains, but being that both genders won't actually know how the other one feels, who gets those pains, we will never fully know. As I am a male over the age of 18, no. Me personally, I'm not. If we do the exact same job, you don't. Neither of them do, but you are missing a key element here. It is very possible, in fact, I will say it is most probable that uh, the men in this country do a whole lot of different jobs than the women do. And those jobs that the men do may, in fact, pay more. So, unless you are comparing uh, the exact same job and the exact same pay, such as lawyer to lawyer, not say doctor to elementary school teacher, um, you shouldn't put that into the equation of the supposed pay gap because there is none. Because such situations, the woman would probably be my boss, and I usually find my boss very uh, intimidating to me on some level. Okay, let me answer this by quoting one of the greatest female characters in all of history. That is a capital letter B, the beginning of a 7 letter word which describes your father. End quote. And it is that word which men are usually seen as. Because if my friends do that, I am not with them when they say those things that demean women. Because I don't have white male privilege. Let me tell you something. I was born into this world, if you couldn't tell by my answers, now with a learning disability, and I can't, and I don't have things that can be that many other people have who are not uh, me. Now, granted, I do live in a very nice apartment in on the Upper West Side of New York, but that's because both myself and my parents worked hard and did things on their own. And in some cases got real lucky. And when you want to talk about privilege, come and see me about female privilege because I believe uh, getting custody nearly all the time. And I'm not talking about the women who actually have abusive husbands. Um, those women deserve custody over their children. I am talking about the honest guy who has equal shot, should have an equal shot going into a divorce of getting custody of his kids. Um, and why don't you talk about female privilege? Like how when a woman falsely accuses a man of rape, they never get sent to prison, even though they should. Once again, see Duke Lacrosse rape allegation, see Tawana Brawley, see the UVA rape hoax. Um, you know, falsely swearing out a police report, falsely accusing someone of a major felony, wasting the taxpayers' time, and then all of the women who've gotten off because they were women that men could not get off. I mean, there was that preacher's wife in Tennessee a couple of years ago who got 2 whole weeks in jail for shooting her husband. Then there was Andrea Yates, who killed uh, 5 of her kids, but got to claim that because she was depressed, she should go to a mental facility. And of course, I'd like to bring back the names Tawana Brawley, Crystal Gale Magnum, the Duke Lacrosse accuser, and the University of Virginia rape hoax. Not to mention Mattress Girl going around Columbia saying that she was raped, even though there's no proof that the guy actually did anything that wasn't consensual. At least that's what I've from what I've heard of the case. Do you have any new evidence? Please, I'd love to hear it.